Tim Petrowich Marion here with Marion head football coach Kerry Martin as we head into the 6th week of the Illinois high school football season. And coach, a big win for the Wildcats last week, 44-42 over Mount Vernon in overtime. And you have to go back a couple years. A game at Carbondale, I think, was your last overtime game. Friday night was certainly an exciting football game, not only for the fans, but I'm sure for the coaches as well.
It was a good night. I mean, we stayed in there and battled and, made some big plays this week, which we had to make. And they were a good football team. We thought they would be a good football team, and they certainly were. They lived up to the billing. They were physical. They were fast, and they gave us a great challenge. And our kids battled and hung in there and made some big plays towards the end and able to take the lead and win that thing in overtime.
Wildcats are 3-2 in all 3 wins. You've been behind by 2 touchdowns at halftime or in the second half.
Right.
Talk about the way this team plays in the second half.
They play with a sense of urgency in the second half that is pretty remarkable. We as a coaching staff have tried to channel that to 4 quarters of football, not for just 2, but it's a bit of a mystery to me. I've never really had a team. 2 years ago, we had a similar team in 2011 that fell behind and came back quite a bit. But I don't have a lot of explanations. I mean, we are who we are. I mean, we work on things in practice. We try to start with some up-tempo offense to kickstart, and it just seems they play better in the second half, and they seem to play better from behind, which, I mean, like I said, I'm to the point now where I'm almost not trying to figure it out anymore. I'm just going to do the best job I can do and prepare my kids the best I can, and just hopefully we're winning the ball game when the scoreboard runs out of time.
You seemed in the second half especially to have all the offensive pieces in the right spot. Everything was working well, and you scored. You had 7 points at halftime, finished the game with 44. Things just seemed to click in the second half offensively.
They did, and you're right about getting the pieces in there. And I think it's been a battle. We've had a lot of pieces missing on occasion, and players injured, and players out, and players coming back, and having to move kids around quite a bit to cover for some injuries that we've had up front, especially. And we've never really felt like we had all of our puzzle pieces together. And I think as the season's progressed, we're getting more of those pieces coming together. We'll get John Dalton back, hopefully at full strength this week. So again, it's another puzzle piece that we've been missing, and it's been a difficult challenge for us to get those pieces together and to get them in the right spot. But I think when we do, we're pretty good. But when we don't play together, we don't play in sync, we got guys out for various reasons or moving guys around, we're sometimes not a very good football team. And so hopefully what we saw in the second half against Mount Vernon is a glimpse of what's to come this season, and hopefully we can continue to improve.
What you saw against Mount Vernon the whole game was they're a pretty doggone good football team.
Yes, sir.
A lot better than they've been in the past years. And when you got down 2 touchdowns in the first half, there's that thought again where Mount Vernon is playing a lot better. Things are going their way. Oh no, here we go. Some trouble on the horizon. And you bounced right back after it's 14-0. You bounced right back, got a huge play, a big throw from to Brandon Osborne. A kid who's only made a couple of catches, but he was going full sprint, reached out, caught that ball at the end of the throw. I mean, it was a perfectly executed play.
To me, that was the play of the ball game. I mean, we're down 14-0. We really can't give up another touchdown against a ground control, ground and pound team. And we had to have a play at that moment. And Brant scrambled in the pocket a bit and threw a great pass to Brandon Osborne and made a great catch. And at the end of that play, we get 2 physical blocks from Hunter Lincoln and Jordan Bradford that I think we needed to send because they had been very physical with us early in the game. And you've got to respond to that or it can snowball on you. And I think our kids responded with 2 physical blocks, a big play, a big catch. It was a huge momentum swing for us, and I think it put us back with a chance to win the game.
And then you could tell that you had put Mount Vernon on their heels physically and psychologically, because the next play, Mitch Bartle gets to the outside and goes into the end zone fairly easily on a 15-yard run. So bang, bang, 2 plays, and all of a sudden you got a touchdown, you're right back in the game.
Yeah, momentum is a huge thing, and it changes everything. It changes the effort of the kids. It changes the defense's morale. And I mean, they did it to us, and we did it back to them. I just thought it was a really good high school football game. We still got penalized a few times too many, and we need to clean that up again. But other than that, I mean, as far as both teams playing a good brand of physical football in the South 7 on a Friday night, I was real proud of that.
Second half was just like a heavyweight bout, toe to toe, punch after punch. And after you tied the game, Mount Vernon scores, you score. Mount Vernon scores with 2.5 minutes to go. You go right back down the field and score, and you were not only forced to score, but get a 2-point conversion as well to tie the game.
Yeah,
with
that
about
was
30 seconds left.
That's some pressure, you know. Not only do you have to score, but that's not it. Now you've got to get the 2-point conversion, and you know, we had a game plan for that, and we were ready to. We had some plays ready we thought might work if the situation came to that, and the kids did a great job of executing.
Talk about the overtime. You guys scored fairly quickly. Second down, Jared Doris on that little inside counter play off the Orange offense, and he got in fairly easily, and then the conversion, almost the identical play.
It was, yeah.
Instead of going inside, he kicked it out and went in untouched.
He made a nice read on it. You know, the plan was he got in so easy the first time. We thought we would maybe fool him a bit and try to run the same play again. Only this time he did a great job of reading it and seeing the open to the outside, and made a great adjustment in his run and scored. And we felt like kicking it wasn't going to do us much good because they were going to go for 2. And we didn't want to be in a situation where we score and kick it, and then they score and go for 2 and win the game. So we chose to go for the 2 for that reason, to put some more pressure on them, and thank goodness we did.
Their touchdown on 4th down, after you had a chance to get their quarterback dropped for a big loss, he managed to get back to the 1. They get the 4th down run. And were you thinking it was probably going to be a second overtime, or what did you think there?
Oh, we were prepared. I told my coaching staff, my offensive staff, guys, I said, this could go 3 or 4 times. I mean, I was convinced that this was going to be more than a 1 overtime ball game. And so we were on the sideline kind of scrambling to what we were going to go to next in our play calls. We had some play calls ready for overtime, but not for a second overtime. So we were ready to go, though.
And ironically, Mount Vernon, the play they scored on, they ran the exact same play to run the conversion as well. And you talk about football being a game of inches. Handoff a little high on the chest, bounces away. By the time that the back was able to pick it up, you were able to swarm him and stop him short.
There were no losers in that ball game. I mean, you know, we won on the scoreboard 44-42, but that was, like you said, a game of inches. A play here, a play there, a block here, a call there. It was anybody's ball game right down to the wire, and it's just a hard-fought game. Coach Shaner does a great job. His kids have come a long way. They're so much better. And they're going to be a force in the South 7 for a long time to come.
We talked about your offense quite a bit, and I think you achieved something on Friday night that you've tried to achieve. About 195, 200 yards on rushing, about 195, 200 yards right around there passing. It was a 50-50 split.
It was. I think our statistician said it was an exact split yard for yard, which, like you said, that's ideally you would love to be balanced and have the passing and rushing yardage about equal, and it's rare when you actually come down to the yard and say we did it. Didn't realize that till after the game, but I think that makes us a better football team. Makes us harder to defend when we're able to have a nice balance of pass and run, and put the ball in the hands of a lot of different individuals.
Now Friday night you play Althoff, and how do you figure them out? Because 2 weeks ago they're up 2 scores on Mount Vernon in the 4th quarter. Mount Vernon comes back and wins, or they're up on Mount Vernon. Mount Vernon comes back and wins at home against the Belleville's at home. Then the next week they host Centralia, the defending conference champs, who are undefeated, and they put a running clock on them, beat them 58-7. How do you explain that?
Well, I don't know how you explain it. I mean, it's the South 7. I mean, there's the unexplainable. I mean, we thought coming in, you and I have talked about how many close games we're going to have, and then someone has to break out and blow somebody out, and the blowout didn't come by the 4-0 team versus the 1-3 team.
It was the other way around.
It was the other way around. So it's typical of the South 7 to be unpredictable, but no one predicted that score, and it can, I think, on any given Friday, those kind of things can happen against good football teams. You can kind of lose your rhythm and get a player hurt. You know, things can happen, can unravel pretty quickly, but they're a good football team, and they've played a tough schedule. One of their losses came to Belleville West, for heaven's sakes. I mean, that's a big-time program, and so we understand who they are and what they can do, and we have a lot of respect for what they've done over the years. I mean, this has been a battle. Every game we've had against them has been a battle for the last 12 years, and I know that Friday will be no different. They'll come to play.
Their offense is geared around their quarterback. Eric Mertens is a third-year starter. He's been playing in that position since he was a freshman. he's similar in what he brings to the table as Brant, in that he can run, he can throw,
Yeah.
he's got all those threats. I think a little bit of a difference is he's a little bigger and probably a little more physical than Brant is.
Right.
What do you do against that kind of an offense where he's such a big threat?
Well, certainly you have to be aware of all the things he can do, and you have to have a game plan that's going to try to, at least contain him and not let him beat you. I mean, I think in any given game plan, you have to take a look at who's the key to their offense, and make sure you do something to try to contain that individual and make them beat you with something else. For years, we tried to contain Jason Ford and make them beat us with somebody else when he was at Althoff, and I think this is a similar situation. We know what he can do. We shouldn't be surprised by his abilities, but do some things to try to confuse him and try to keep him from being the guy that walks off the field saying, "Boy, he killed us tonight." Make them use something else, because I think he's a kid that's a proven winner. He's got statistically one of the finest quarterbacks, I'm sure, in Althoff history, and he's cool, he's calm, he's got great poise in the pocket. He knows how to run the offense. He's comfortable in their system. And I think Coach Turner would agree he's kind of like having a coach on the field, this being the fourth year he's been on that field for them.
One thing we know about Althoff is they can obviously score points. The other thing we know is up until last week they've been giving up some points as well. So I'm sure you feel confident that you can do some things offensively.
Well, we hope so. I mean, we have a game plan against them. They did some things different against Centralia we hadn't seen them do this year yet. So it'll be important that we make sure we adjust to these changes that we've seen. But they're one of the best defenses we face every year. I mean, I think technique-wise, game plan-wise, they are always very sound defensively. And they don't do things, I don't think, that are unsound rarely. I think they just come in with a sound game plan. The kids are fundamentally and technique really good. And that creates some real challenges for you. But we're going to have to score some points. We know that. Our defense has to get some stops, and this ball game may come down to special teams.
It's homecoming week, and this is something you go through every year. What are some of the routine things you do to kind of put away the distractions of homecoming week and keep everybody focused on the game?
Well, most of all, I think we've made our kids aware from the first day of the week on that they have a job to do, and other kids can be involved in a lot of other activities, but the football players have a job to do, and that's to win the ball game. That they can enjoy some of the festivities, that's great, we want them to, but at 3:30 every day to 6 o'clock, they have to throw that switch and focus on football. And as long as I'm seeing that focus at practice, and we're not too out of hand in the activities, I'm okay with it. I think kids ought to enjoy this. I think we have a great homecoming here at Marion High School. I think the kids are excited. The kids have a lot of neat stuff. I'm glad the kids want to participate in the activities. There's a lot of schools battling this idea that homecoming takes place and kids don't want to go to the dance, kids don't want to dress up. And that's kind of sad, really. I want our kids to celebrate homecoming for what it is. Keep it in perspective, but enjoy it. So we've told them just don't overdo it. Come to practice focused. And don't forget, we're going to constantly remind you about the ball game. And I think the good thing about homecoming week, the pep rally, the parade, so many things continue to remind the kids that it is homecoming. There is a big game on Friday, and stay focused.
And it's the first time you're at home for a month, so that's got to be a little bit of excitement there too.
It is. We're excited to be home. It seems like it's been a long time, and the season seems to be going fast, but it seems like we haven't played at home in forever. And so we're just glad to be home and not on the road and play in front of our home crowd.
Marion head football coach Kerry Martin, our guest. The Wildcats play Althoff Friday night. It's homecoming night. We'll see you Friday, Coach.
Sounds good.
For Dateline Marion, this is Tim Petrowich.